G'day everybody, it's Master Yoda here and hope you guys are all doing well. Title of today's video, it's going to be a reaction video. It's going to be a reaction video to a PUA video titled Women Are Begging Men to Approach Them. Yeah, this will be interesting. It's made by our good mate, Dan Bacon. So what I'll do is I'll go for the video and pause it and give my commentary. So without further ado, let's rock and roll.
The dating scene has changed so much that some women are now willing to get on social media and beg for men to approach them.
We are begging.
It's quite sad for men and women when you look at the...
Yeah, and when women go on social media or any type of social media, whether it be TikTok or YouTube, complaining that men aren't approaching them, what women are really saying is, why isn't Chad approaching us? And look, I don't know, modern women, I'm not saying all of them, they're really a piece of work. For years, they've told us men not to approach, not to harass, and we listened, we complied. And now they're complaining. But once again, when modern women complain that men aren't approaching them anymore, what they're really saying is, why isn't Chad or Tyrone approaching me? The rest of us guys are us average and below average looking guys. We're just invisible to women. And, if an average or below average looking guy makes the rather foolish mistake of cold approaching a woman, it's creepy, I'll talk to the modern woman, it's creepy and it's harassment. But when Chad does it, it's cool. Yeah, just on the graph that you see here, young male virginity on the rose. Well, what do you expect? With the modern woman just chasing that top percentage of guys, that top 5 to 10% of guys, and once again, it doesn't mean that the remaining 95 to 90% of guys are going to miss out altogether. No, but what it does mean is that an increasing percentage of men, through no fault of their own, are going to miss out. It's cruel, but life isn't fair. But yeah, I don't know what it is with some modern women. They for decades they told us men not to approach them, not to harass them, and we did it. And now they're complaining. But once again, when women complain that men aren't approaching them anymore, what they're really saying is, we want Chad and Tyrone to approach us. Anybody else, it's harassment and it's creepy.
Rising male virginity rate, and you hear women like this saying, please talk to me. And with this particular woman, who's quite pretty, she even got to the point where she said, screw it, I'm going to talk to a guy myself. And she went up and talked to a guy, as you'll hear in a second, and he was neutral, didn't show her interest, didn't try to flirt with her, and she walked away and didn't know what to do. She just felt like, okay, I tried to put myself out there and it didn't work. And so have a look at this clip. I have some more clips to show you in this video. Let's start with this one.
I'm feeling like I am just in a world of loneliness because...
Oh, give me a break. Have a walk in my shoes or any other, or the shoes of any other unattractive man and see what life's like. Yeah. Once again, when women complain about men not approaching them, they're not referring to us average and below average looking guys. No, they're just they're complaining that Chad is not approaching them. As for this young lady, yeah, I bet you the guy she approached, I bet you he was a Chad. And the Chad's turned her down, maybe because the Chad was already in a relationship and he wanted to be loyal to his partner. Who knows? Anyway, let's carry on.
Because, okay, no one get fucking Jordan, are you okay? No one do that, okay? I'm all right. I'm not actually depressed. I'm just saying, it's very rare that anyone is social when you're out in any type of setting. Everyone.
She's right there. Look, sorry to pause the video again. We do live in a very socially disconnected society. That's all over the world. I mean, obviously going by this lady's accent, she's from the US. But yes, we do live in a very socially disconnected world. You go to any social function, whether it be a speed rejection function or a nightclub, bar, or whatever, a singles thing, men stay in their corner and women stay in theirs. Some mixing does go on. My good friend, man, at Overboard, a couple of weeks ago, he went to a singles function. He went up to a woman and she wasn't that crash hot looking. Just turned it, he greeted her politely, and she basically turned her back on him. Yeah. I've had the same thing happen to me, but then again, I haven't approached a woman in close to 20 years. But yeah, we do live in a very socially disconnected society. We do. So the young lady is right there.
Keeps to them fucking selves. Whether you're looking to say hi to a pretty girl or not, or you're just trying to make friends. Like, it's so hard unless I'm literally sitting at a bar where the bartender is forced to talk to me. No one is ever social whenever I'm out. I'm trying to go out and meet new people. I'm trying to like not work from home. I'm trying to.
Well, once again, you ladies told us men not to approach you, and we listened, and now you're complaining. Women, you can never make them happy, no matter what you do or how well you do it. Women are never happy.
Go work at a coffee shop from home, you know what I mean, and like see what happens, right? And nothing's happening ever. It's so exhausting and it's so draining, and it's like, why the fuck do I even try? Why did I put makeup on? Like, I'm just not even looking to like meet my husband. I'm looking to just talk.
One thing to point out here is, she's being very honest in many ways, but she's also saying something there that,
well, no, she's not really being honest, because the information that she's conveniently left out is she wants Chad to approach her. She wants Chad to approach her. I bet. Look, I can't say this for certain, but how many average guys would have approached her? Well, and she would have turned them down. Anyway.
many guys can take the wrong way, where she said, I'm not even looking to find my husband. And one of the reasons she has to say that is she's already putting herself out there on social media saying that she wants guys to talk to her. And if she says that she's looking for a husband, she really wants a husband because her friends have that, then people in the comments are going to say, well, you must be giving off a needy energy. And guys don't like it when women are, focused on them getting married right away and you need to take it slow and so on. So she has to say those sort of things. But some guys can take it the wrong way and think that, all right, well, she doesn't even want a husband. She doesn't even seem to want a guy. She said she just wants to talk to people, which is not true. She's trying to find a boyfriend or a husband.
Looking to just talk to anyone because I'm living by myself. I'm single. My friends are doing things with their fucking husband.
Young lady, you're single because you choose to be. Okay. You're waiting for Chad, and yeah. How many average and below average guys have you turned down? Heaps of it. And look, once again, you're perfectly entitled to do that. You're not obligated to date these average and below average looking guys if you're not attracted to them. Fair enough, regardless of how good their personalities may be. But yeah, once again, this lady's just pissed off that Chad's not approaching her.
It's sometimes it's hard. You try to put yourself out there, but everyone is
So she's putting herself out there, right? She's trying, and her idea of putting herself out there is to work from a cafe, right? Bring her laptop and work from a cafe and hope that a guy will come over and talk to her. But as you'll see with some clips later in the video, it doesn't always look like the woman wants to be approached, because many women in public situations will have body language that suggests they don't want to be spoken to.
That's right. And when you observe that body language, you don't approach them. I mean, the more I listen to this PUA, I think he's on the spectrum, seriously. And look, no offense to any of my subs if you guys do have some type of autism or you're on the spectrum. I'm not directing that towards you if you happen to have that. But I'm talking about our good mate here, Dan Bacon. I think he's on the spectrum, and that's why I call PUA picking up autism. Or what's another good acronym for PUA? Practicing unwanted approaches. And here's another one. Pretty useless advice. Yeah, well, of course. If when you're, it doesn't matter what the setting is. You've got to read the room, and you've got to read women's body language. And this is one thing that gives me the royal fucking shits, sorry, pardon my language, about pickup artists and dating roaches. They don't tell men, they don't instruct men on how to read female body language. You've got to read the room. You really do. You've got to read a woman's body language. If she looks angry and unapproachable, don't approach her. Because what do you think's going to happen? You're probably going to be on the end of a very humiliating rejection, or, worst case scenario, she could report you to security or the police and have harassment charges filed against you. One of my subs, Big T TV82, in one of his videos, he mentioned that when he was doing the PUA stuff, he called approach. I mean, he did a very passive, non-sleazy, non-threatening manner. The woman politely rejected him, and he accepted that. A couple of minutes later, he gets pulled up by some. I'm not sure if they were security or police saying, "Oh, why are you harassing that woman?" And he said, "I wasn't. I was just chatting her up. I was just talking to her. She rejected me, and I said, fine. I walked away." So you got to be very careful, guys, on how you interact with women. And once again, I wouldn't approach a woman unless she gives you the green light or the choosing signals to do so. And look, female body language is not hard to read. It really isn't, guys. You've got to read the room and read the body language. And if that woman's giving off dismissive, hostile, combative body language, like if she's saying, "Don't approach me," don't, just don't. Let's carry on.
Right, so it's tricky for some men to figure out when they should walk over and talk to a woman. So
No, it's not tricky, Dan. And most of us, we don't have 25th Asperger's like you do. Once again, female body language is not hard to read. It really isn't. Yeah, but Dan Bacon's trying to turn it into rocket science, and it really isn't.
Everyone is so used to the easy option of like going on dating apps or just sticking to themselves. I don't know.
So she's making an assumption, which many women do these days, same with guys, that everyone is using dating apps.
Well, up until recently, they were. I read a study a couple of years ago. They did a survey, and they found that more than 50% of men and women, and I'm not sure, I think this was done in the US, were using dating apps to try and find either people to hook up with or for a long-term partner, like someone to marry or have a long-term relationship with, and more than 50% said they were using dating apps and sites. That's now changed because, as many of you may recall, when I did that reaction to video to that documentary on the online dating industry, literally millions of men, because as we all know, dating sites and apps are a complete sausage fest, are cancelling their memberships because they're just not getting any results. They're just not meeting anyone because the women there, they're only going for that top 5% of guys. And unless you're in that top 5%, or you just get lucky, but unless you're in that top 5% of guys in terms of looks, forget about it. You're wasting your money and time on a dating site. So yes, in the past, a very large percentage of men and women were on sites and apps trying to look for romantic or intimate partners, but not now. As per that video, that reaction I did to that documentary on the internet dating industry, people are turning away from these online dating sites and apps because they're a scam. They are a scam. And look how many times all these big dating sites got caught engaging in fraudulent activity. And they're a scam. Look, some people do meet, but the success rate of these sites is pathetic. And the sites actually it's good for their business model because the longer you keep looking for love, that means that they get more subscription fees out of it. Because if it was easy for a man to find a wife, girlfriend, or a hookup partner, he would either pause or cancel his membership. But the dating sites don't want that. They want you to fail. They want you to keep looking for love so they can keep milking more subscription fees out of you. But look, the bottom line is this. Look, yes, up until recently, yes, a large percentage of men and women were turning to these sites and apps to find romantic partners or hookup partners. But now they're leaving these sites in droves, and that's why these sites are losing so much money. If you recall from my that reaction video I did, I think Bumble, in 5 years, their value went down from $13 billion down to $335 million. Match.com, the one that owns all the big sites like Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, their valuation in the last 5 years has dropped from $48 billion down to $7 billion. Yeah, so these sites are losing money, and lots of it because the mostly male members are quitting. They're not getting any results. And they've come to the conclusion that these sites, dating sites and apps, are scams, and they are. And how many times they've been caught? Anyway, let's carry on.
But then when you look at the numbers, right, most dating app users are men.
That's right. They're all sausage fests, a whole lot of them. The sites won't tell you that. No, they say, "Oh, come on, man, come and join this site. There's plenty of women here." No, there's not. And a lot of the women there are bots. They're fake accounts. They're fake profiles. and the sites have been caught doing it. They've been caught. But no, Dan Bacon is right here. Pretty much all the dating sites and apps are complete sausage fests. The gender ratios on those things are just horrendous. I read somewhere on Tinder, the gender rate, it's 9 men to every 1 woman. Yeah, good luck with that.
But then when you actually look at the numbers of how many people in the population are actually using dating apps, the numbers are low. But
That's right. Now they are. Yes, I will agree with that. Because, as I said before, the mostly male members are quitting these sites en masse because they're not getting any results. So yes, once again, Dan Baker is right here. I'll give him that.
dating app companies will make it seem like everyone's using dating apps, and they'll pay to get put into TV shows and movies. They'll get featured on the news and so on, and it will look like everyone's using dating apps these days.
For a time, they were. For a time, they were. As I said before, I read a study, I'm not sure it was a study or a survey of a whole lot of men and women, I think, in the US, and a very large number of people were using these sites and apps. And look, look at the billions of dollars that they were turning over. They're not. They're not turning that much money now because lots of people have quit their membership. Have cancelled their memberships, particularly men. So they're losing money. They're losing lots of money. But Dan Bacon is right here. Now, yeah, the amount of people on dating sites and apps is dropping like a stone. But it wasn't before.
But you really have to look at the numbers. And you also have to understand that the majority of women don't use dating apps. And not only do they not use dating apps, but most women actually hate dating apps. They detest them.
Well, the reason why women hate dating apps is because there's not enough chads on there. That's why they hate them. Not because, obviously it's a convenient way for a woman to meet men. But the reason why a lot of women hate dating apps is because there's not enough chads on there.
They don't like them at all. And you really have to think about why that is the case.
Once again, there's not enough chads. Chads and Tyrones.
And one of the reasons why is that a woman's instinct of attraction is to get with a man that other women find attractive. And
who's that? Chad and Tyrone. Not an average and below average looking guy.
What many women assume when they see a guy in a dating app is that women don't want him in real life, and
that's right, because they're unattractive. How long did it take you to work that out, Dan?
That's why he has to get on a dating app. And for some guys, their photos will really give off that impression in terms of their body language.
Women don't reject you because of your body language. Women reject you because of your looks, and the fact that you don't meet their minimum looks threshold. They don't. How are you supposed to tell someone's body language just by looking at a photo? Okay, obviously, if they look sad, or if they got their shoulders hunched up, yeah, that could give off the impression that they're not very confident or they're not happy. But no, women don't reject men based on their body language. Women reject men based on their looks.
The woman will be able to sense that he's not a confident guy, and
well, how would they know? By looking at a photo. And what's a confident guy to a woman? Chad.
Realize that women aren't going to be feeling attracted to him in person. So,
well, hang on a minute. So the guy on the left, Joey, he's not even straight. Have a look at his sexual orientation. So no, yeah. Anyway, but no, regardless, how's a woman supposed to know what a guy's personality or confidence just by looking at a photo? Dan Bacon's just talking rubbish here.
Why should she give him a chance on a dating app? Whereas for most men, they're not thinking about those sort of things. And when they're on a dating app, they're just looking at women going, yep. And it's just a yes, he would have.
Okay, this Tinder stat here, men like 2 out of 3 female profiles, women like 1 out of 20. Yeah, which proves that women are the more visual gender. Dan Bacon and the other PUA scammers will deny that. But that just proves that men are the less visual gender. Yes, as men, we do value a woman's beauty and her looks. Yeah, of course we do, but not as much as women do. Women are the more visual and superficial gender, and I'm not hating on women because of it. They're just acting on their biology. They're seeking. Women are seeking the best genetics for any man they may have offspring with, and that's not going to happen with an average or unattractive man. It's got to, they're most likely going to have attractive offspring with a Chat or a Tyrone. But these stats here just once again totally shatter the PUA lie that men are the more visual gender. We're not. We're not. Women are the more visual and superficial gender. I'm sorry they are. And once again, not hating on women because of that. They're just acting on their biology.
Sex with her, or yes, he would potentially have a short-term relationship with her, and he's essentially just saying yes to most. And for many guys, they end up swiping right on pretty much every woman to hopefully get some matches to then feel confident, to feel like,
well, you got to play the numbers game. Unfortunately, that's what can you do?
They're getting results, but they don't ever realize that the amount of women on the apps is very small.
That's true. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, look, I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2015, there was a site called Madison, Ashley Madison. Sorry, Ashley Madison. What it was a site dedicated to people who wanted to cheat on their partners, like, say, had a woman, a wife, she wanted to cheat on her husband, or a husband who wanted to cheat on his wife. And that's what this site was dedicated to. Yeah, nice, eh? And in 2015, it was hacked. Now, look, I don't agree with the hack. I thought that's obviously very illegal, but they did pull up some very interesting information. And just like all the other sites, Ashley Madison was a sausage fest. I read somewhere of the 20 million members, 15 million were men, and only 5 were women. And I read another report that the generation were even more skewed. I think there was like 90% men and 10% women. And they interviewed a former staff member from Ashley Madison. She was a female, and her job was to create fake female profiles to give men the impression that there were lots of women there. There weren't. It was a sausage fest, a complete sausage fest. Yeah. Anyway.
Mostly men, and a certain percentage of the women aren't even real. They're bots. They're fake accounts.
That's right. Yeah. And I think the FTC, Federal Trade Commission in America, have caught the sites engaged in that behavior. And also, too, in the UK, I saw a very good documentary many years ago that the BBC produced, and they spoke to 2 former employees of an English dating site, and they admitted they resigned on principle, because what their job was, they were part of the pseudo team. Their job was to create fake female profiles to trick men into signing up. Because one of the scams that the internet dating industry does, they'll tell men, "Oh, look, guys, it's free to sign up," which it is. If you just want to become a member of a dating site or app, it's free. But if you actually want to use the site in terms of sending and receiving messages, they put up a paywall where you've got to enter your debit or credit card. Now, how they suck men is, okay, you say you have a male member who's just signed up, okay, but he hasn't given his credit card details yet, or his debit card details. And what the website will do, they'll send a fake message to him from a fake woman, and the guy thinks, "Oh, you beauty, there's a woman who's interested in me." And as soon as he goes to reply back, the paywall comes up. He hands in his details, and they've got him. And then when that man tries to reply to that woman that he thinks he's that woman disappears. But then again, that woman never existed in the first place. It was a bot. It was a fake profile. So Dan Bacon is right here. Yeah, there's a ton of scams that are going on with these sites. Absolutely.
Right, so he's swiping and hoping that he's going to get results, and he's not even really being seen by many women, because for some apps, they end up filtering guys out based on height. The women who actually use dating apps have so much choice with men, because it's mostly men on there, that they start getting really picky and start saying, all right, well, 6'1" and above, right? And guys who are swiping on those women, because the apps will let them see the women, are hoping that they're going to get a match, but those women will never even see them. because they're filtering those guys out based on height. However, it's important for guys to understand that the absolute majority of women do not use those apps. They don't.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can go along with that. But in the past, a fair few women did. But yeah, no, I'll give Dan Bacon some credit here. Yeah, no, most women don't go on sites and apps to meet men. Usually, I mean, women meet men either through mutual friends and acquaintances or family. But back in the past, a fair few women did go on these sites and apps to hook up with men. Yeah, but not as much now.
Don't like them, they don't ever want to use them, and they would rather meet a guy in real life, and that is the reality. Yet for a lot of guys, they see things on the news about dating apps and they think that it's the number one way to meet women because that is what is put out in the press release.
Well, no, in the past it was. Once again, obviously, over the last couple of years, men have wised up and they've quit. They've cancelled their subscriptions to these sites and apps because they're just not getting any results because of all the scams and all the bullshit that goes on there. And yeah, but obviously that's changed now because these sites are losing lots of money, and so they should because they've engaged in a lot of fraudulent activities. And fortunately, men have now wised up
by those dating app companies. And then when they see interviews with women on TikTok, the woman's being asked questions like, how tall does a guy have to be with you? And she's saying 6 foot. And then what happens for many guys is that they end up thinking that all women think like that. And that's what they...
Well, not all women think like that, but a large number of them do. You see these interviews they have with women on TikTok or YouTube or wherever, and women, they're being honest. Yeah, they've got a long laundry list of what they expect in men. Yeah, you got to be over this height. You got to look like this. You got to be good looking. Modern women are very picky. So regardless whether a woman sees you on a dating site or in person, she's still she's either going to pre-select you on your looks. She's either going to pre-select you or reject you based on your looks and whether she finds you physically attractive. So what difference does it make if you're on a site or they meet you in person? But modern women these days are very picky. I'm not saying every single one of them are picky, but a good number of them are very picky. They are. So they are.
They want. Prior to making this video, for example, I went on TikTok looking for videos of women asking men to approach them. And in the comments, you see guys saying, well, you guys told us not to approach, or you...
That's right. Exactly. For decades, women have told us men not to approach them or harass them. And we listened.
You told us not to approach, or, well, I'm not 6'3" and jacked, so why should I even bother walking up and talking to a woman?
That's right. Because you're not getting any choosing signals from her. If you were 6'3" and jacked and good looking, women would be giving you choosing signals. They'd be giving you the green light for you to approach them. You can't just cold approach a woman and try and run this useless PUA game with them. It's not going to work. What you're going to do is you're going to piss the woman off, and worst case scenario, she could file harassment charges against you. And it's happened. So guys have made the wise decision. No, she's giving me no choosing signals, so why risk getting into trouble or potentially humiliating rejection? No, men have wised up. But I think what Dan Bacon's trying to do, being the sneaky little PUA scammer, well, they're all sneaky. He's trying to guilt trip men to buying his products. Anyway.
So they've heard a woman say on TikTok or whatever when she's being interviewed that a guy needs to be 6 foot. And then other guys who react to that and make videos about it and get angry about it start saying that women only want a guy who's 6'3" and jacked and rich. And
that's right. Look, I make videos about that, but I'm not angry about it. No, if that's what women are attracted to, that's what they're attracted to. Once again, I'm not going to get angry at women for acting on their biology. Once again, me getting angry at women for rejecting me, which I'm not. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that none of them gave me a chance. But look, they're perfectly entitled to reject me. They don't know my relationship or anything. Me getting shitty with women for rejecting me, which I'm not. would be like, I don't know, it would be like a zebra getting the shits with a lion because the lion wants to eat it. Well, a lion's acting on its biology. It's got to eat, and zebra's on the menu. So, when men, particularly us men in the BP community, we make videos stating that women want tall, handsome men. We're not saying that in a hateful, misogynistic manner. Absolutely not. No, we're just reporting what we see. We're just reporting on how women behave and their relationship choices. And if women want to choose a tall, good-looking girl, well, it's entirely up to them. If that's what they're attracted to, that's what they're attracted to. But no, I don't hate on women because of that. Absolutely not. They're the choosers, and who they date or sleep with is entirely up to them.
Every other guy doesn't have a chance. So they end up believing that about women. They end up looking at women and thinking that they all want that because...
Well, a large number of women do want tall, handsome, rich guys, or at least handsome for genuine attraction. Yeah, and once again, I'm not hating on women because of that. They're just acting on their biology.
In the guy's mind, he's thinking, well, everyone's using dating apps, and he's heard that most guys don't get results on dating apps because women go for the tall, handsome men. So
that's right, on dating sites and apps, and even in real life as well. It's the same bloody thing. Like I said before, what difference does it make whether a woman sees you on a dating site or app or in person? She's either going to pre-select you or reject you based on your looks and whether she likes those looks, whether she finds you physically attractive. So what difference does it make if it's in person or a dating site or app? I think what these PUAs do when they attack online dating, what these PUAs are trying to say is that at least if you meet a person, if you approach a woman in real life, you may be able to win her over with your personality. Look, theoretically, that could happen. I mean, you could meet a woman, and although she may not be immediately physically attracted to you or not physically attracted to you at all, you may be able to theoretically, and I emphasize the word theoretically, able to win her over with your personality. Look, that could happen, and it does, and then sometimes it does happen to unattractive guys. They meet a woman, and the woman doesn't think much of them physically, but then the guy wins that woman over with his personality. It happens sometimes, but women like that are very rare, extremely rare, and they get snapped up pretty fast. And yes, some unattractive guys are fortunate enough to meet these women, but it's not common. It's not common. Generally speaking, if you don't pass that looks test with a woman, there's going to be no chance of a relationship, no chance of an intimate relationship between you and said woman. Yeah. Regardless of how good your personality is.
So that's what they really want. They only want the tall, handsome men. So some guys feel disappointed by that, and other guys feel disgusted by it.
No, I'm not disappointed, disgusted by that. Once again, women are acting on their nature. They're just acting on their biology. Jeez. God, this Dan Bacon guy's clueless. He's completely clueless. But then again, all these PUAs are. If you want to get advice on how not to get laid and how to get yourself in trouble with the police, listen to a dating coach. Because, like I said before, you make the mistake of cold approaching a woman, and you could get into a lot of legal hot water, a ton of legal hot water. So yeah, and as per the 48 Laws of Dating, written by Richard Wallace, law number 1: never trust a dating coach.
Right, that women are revealing their true nature, that they just want a 6 foot or a 6'3" guy with big muscles and lots of money. And women only want that because in his mind, everyone's using dating apps and guys can't get results on dating apps because women are only going for those sort of guys. So,
well, that's right. Well, in real life as well, not just dating apps. Yeah, of course. It's common knowledge that the success rate for men on dating sites and apps is abysmal, absolutely abysmal. That's why men en masse are quitting these sites, and that's why these sites are losing money. Yeah, who wants to sign up for that? Who wants to pay a membership and get no results? No, thanks.
He's looking at women thinking that they're all like that, when the majority of women aren't even using dating apps, and they aren't like.
There we go, the Earthy Doofy Cope. All right. With the photo on the right, he's put that up in previous videos. I did another reaction video to Dan Bacon. With the couple on the right, look, the dude, he's not ugly, but he's obviously very overweight, probably bordering on obese. Look, all he needs to do is some soft looks maxing, piss the weight off, probably get rid of the beard. It doesn't really suit him, and he'll be fine. The couple on the left, yeah, he's definitely batting out of his league. Definitely batting out of his league. But look, do we know the circumstances of that relationship? Is there money involved? I suspect there is. Anyway.
Like that in real life. When you look at the sort of guys who get girlfriends, you'll notice.
Okay, once again, he's trying to do the certificate now, and with the couple on the left and the right, Dan Bacon's used them before. Well, those dudes aren't that ugly. I mean, they're punching a bit above their weight, but they're definitely not ugly. And the ladies they're quite attractive. Got a theory if you do, I'm the Elephant Man. The guy in the middle, yeah, once again, he's punching above his weight, but he's not that hideous either. Geez, if these guys are if these guys are considered below average, then I'm the Elephant Man. Then I already am a sub 3 subhuman. But no, these aren't good examples. Sorry. They're none of these three couples. They're not looks matched, but they're the men here, no homo here. They're not hideous either. So I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what point Dan Bacon's trying to make here.
Notice that they're all different types of guys. They're not 6'3" jacked.
Well, okay, these two dudes. I'm not saying no homo. They're not that ugly either. They're not. I mean, yeah, they've got some very beautiful. The guy on the right, well, you can't tell. He's got sunglasses on, but he's not hideous either. And the guy on the left, he looks quite tall as well, and he's not hideous. So if these guys are considered below average, once again, I am the Elephant Man. No, poor examples, Dan. Sorry, mate, you dropped the ball on that one.
And rich or anything like that. They just look like normal, everyday guys.
Okay. Well, the guy on the right's not ugly. No homo. He's definitely not ugly. He's a guy on the left. I think there's money involved there. I mean, she's quite an attractive lady, but he's a bald cell. He's obviously quite overweight. I think that's money. Sorry.
So with this woman here, she's thinking that one of the reasons guys aren't walking up and talking to her is that they're just going for the easy option of using dating apps. She also believes that everyone's on dating apps, and that's all everyone does these days.
I fall blame to it too, because I sit in my corner and I do my work, and it is what it is. But when I'm out and I see a cute man, like, you bet your...
There you go. When I see a cute man, she didn't say average or below average, did she? A cute man. She just dropped the big beep. She just dropped that big BP there. Yep. But unfortunately, Dan Bacon's too autistic to see that.
ass and giving the signals.
So she's saying a cute man.
And giving the signals. See, you have to get the green light or the choosing signals from women to approach them. You do not, under any circumstances, cold approach a woman. Don't do it, guys. You could be on the receiving end of a very humiliating rejection, or worst case scenario, you could have the cops called on you. Do you want to sign up for that? No, thanks.
And many guys will assume she's thinking tall, handsome when they...
Well, Captain Obvious. She said she wants a cute guy. She said the word cute. What do you think that means, Dan? Jeez. These PUIs are clueless. She said cute. Yeah. What do you think that means?
Watch this sort of video and they'll think, well, yeah, I mean, if I walked over and talked to you, you'd reject me.
That's right. Of course you will. And she will. She will. If you don't meet that woman's minimum looks threshold, she will reject you. She hasn't given you the green light of the choosing skills to approach her, so don't do it.
You just want a tall, handsome man, and that's what...
That's right. That's what most women want.
What she means by cute, but...
Exactly, Dad. How long did it take to work that out? Okay, these couples here, well, the dude on the left's not ugly. The guy on the right, he's definitely batting above his league, but he's not that... he's definitely batting above his league, but he'd mocked me into oblivion. But no, once again, these aren't really good examples. And on the right, you don't know the circumstances. Is there money involved? Is the dude rich? When you're rich, women tend to conveniently forget what you look like. The couple on the photo on the left, they're pretty much looks matched.
What women refer to as cute means a guy that they feel sparks of attraction for, and sometimes
Yeah, based on his looks. Okay, this here. Okay, the guy on the left is definitely punching above his weight. Guy on the right's not that hideous. Oh, he's got a beautiful Stacey. But these guys aren't that bad. I don't know.
it can be because of the guy's looks, sure,
In most cases, it is because the guy's looks.
but sometimes it can be the guy is secure in his masculinity. He's
Well, what security's masculinity? What's that supposed to mean? There's more PUA cope, more psycho babble. Okay, couple on the left. The dude's not really that bad. He's just going bald. On the right, that dude ain't ugly either. Once again, if these guys are roofy doofies, yeah, I'm the elephant man.
confident, and
Confidence is only attractive to a woman if a woman finds you physically attractive. Once again, you can only be as confident with a woman as she allows you to be.
he has good presence, and he doesn't seem intimidated by her or the situation that he's in. And she's looking at him, and she's noticing his strength.
Okay, well, couple on the left, that dude ain't ugly, no homo here. The guy on the right, he ain't hideous either. He's going bald, but he's not an ugly. These guys aren't ugly dudes. I mean, they mocked me into oblivion, but yeah, no, these aren't good examples. Sorry. I mean, these guys aren't chads, but they're not ugly either. And the guy on the right looks quite tall, and so is the guy on the left.
Emotionally, right? His internal strength. And she's like, yeah, he's cute. And she's feeling
She's cute. She's cute. Oh no, sorry. So I was referring to the previous lady when she said cute guys. Sorry, I made a mistake here, guys. Sorry, apologies.
attracted to him because of that. Right? But most guys will assume that she's saying a tall, handsome, perfect looking guy.
Well, because that's what women want.
And therefore, when they hear a woman say something like this, they think, well, yeah, she's wanting to be approached, but just by a chat.
Bingo. There you go. Yeah, Dan, how long did it take you to work that out? Once again, when women go on TikTok or YouTube or whatever social media platform to complain that men aren't approaching them anymore, that's the guys they want to. They're the men they want to approach them. Anybody else, if you're average or worse still below average looking as a man, it's creepy and it's harassment. They don't want those guys to approach them because look, you've got to understand. You sort of understand female psychology. When you're, say, like an unattractive man like me, for example, when you approach a woman, I'm cold approach a woman, God, in decade, probably close to 20 years. But when you make as an unattractive man, when you cold approach a woman, you're actually insulting her. And I'll explain what I mean. Because when a woman gets approached by a physically unattractive man, so like me, for example, she's saying to herself, is this the best I can attract? This is the best I can do. And she gets very offended. She gets very offended by it, extremely offended by it. Yeah, you bet. Another thing too, you also have to understand what goes through a woman's mind when she is approached by a man she perceives to be below average looking or ugly looking, and that is, how do I get rid of this creep?
A guy who's 6'3" and so on.
Going up to men. You guys think I'm not going up to men? Like a dude in a Bears hat last weekend. I was like, oh, I like your Bears hat. Went up to him, blah, blah, blah. Went all confident. And then he just literally wanted nothing to do with me. I was like, okay, cool, swerve. That's what you do. I don't know.
So she shot her shot, and she experienced what a lot of guys experience when they try to shoot their shot with women.
Yeah. And one thing and look, this is not an attack against women. I'm not a misogynist. I love and I respect women. I say that from the bottom of my heart. But if there's one thing that women can't handle, and that's rejection. I mean, if women had to cop the biblical or industrial level of rejection that us guys would have to take, they'd probably end up unaliving themselves. They would. And women do not take rejection well. I mean, us guys, we take it pretty well. I think us men we're real troopers. I mean, obviously it's not nice when women reject you, but you take it on the chin and you politely thank the woman for your time. And every time a woman's rejected me, I didn't get angry or upset with her. Just thanked her for her time. Said, no worries, all the best. See you later. And I never tried to contact those women ever again. When a woman says no, she means no, and I respect that. Yeah, if if a woman had to walk in the shoes of a man, particularly an unattractive man, they couldn't handle it. It would do their heads in. I remember many years ago I was watching one of those cheesy reality TV shows. I think it was The Bachelor, but the American version of it. I was watching a clip from it, and usual crap. You had 30 women vying for the affections of this one Chad, and one of the first women to be eliminated was this woman in her early 30s. She was a doctor. She was reasonably attractive. She was okay. She was passable. And what happens with these shows is when a woman gets eliminated, the bachelor gives her a rose and says, look, sorry, look, I like you, but you're not the one. And she was one of the first women to be eliminated. And did she get the shit? She threw a tantrum, had this massive meltdown because Chad rejected her. I mean, the Chad was nice about it. He was very polite, but she did not take that well. And I'm saying to myself, well, why don't you walk in my shoes and see how it feels? And that, yeah. So women do not, and once again, I'm not saying this in a hateful, misogynistic manner. Women do not take rejection well. They do not take it well. And that's one thing I admire about us men, particularly us unattractive men who've copped a lot of rejection. I think the mental fortitude of guys like us, it says a lot about us guys. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant manner either.
They walk up, and sometimes women aren't going to be receptive. Sometimes they are. But it's very unusual for a woman to get to the point where she's like, okay, I'm going to talk to a guy. And when she does, she will sometimes experience that. Sometimes, of course, she'll come across a guy who's like, oh, sweet. A pretty woman's talking to me and she's showing interest, and he then feels confident. He talks to her, he asks for her number, and he gets a result with her. She gets a result with him. Great. But sometimes she'll come across a guy who is already taken, and he'll respond in that way because of that.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the lady just in the video then, I mean, she said she approached the guy and the guy turned her down. Well, maybe he was in a relationship and he's being loyal to his partner. Nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes you'll come across a guy who doesn't really know what to do with the situation and is feeling awkward. And then the interaction ends, and later on he thinks, damn it, why didn't I say this to her? Or I could have said that to keep the conversation going. Or, damn it, I think she was actually flirting with me when she was talking about my Bears hat there. With this girl saying, hey, I like your Bears hat. And he didn't realize that at the time. He wasn't quick enough on his feet to think, oh, hang on, this girl's actually flirting with me. He possibly didn't believe that a woman like her would find him attractive and actually be flirting with him. And in some cases, of course, it's one of the woman-hating men out there who have got to the point where they've seen so many TikTok videos of, negative women, interviews with...
Oh, I resent that. He's implying that us particular attractive guys are misogynists. Well, not misogynist. I'm definitely not a misogynist. Absolutely not. I don't hate the women who rejected me. No. They're perfectly entitled to do that. And once again, they're acting on their biology. Gee, this guy's a dickhead. Another conclusion I've come to regarding dating coaches and PUAs, that they're male feminists, because in their worldview, women are these perfect angels that can do no wrong. And us men, we're the bad guys. It's always our fault. Women can do no wrong, and us men are the bad guys. No, Dad. No one's perfect. Okay. I'm not hateful at women because they want to go for attractive guys. If they want, women are perfectly entitled to. If that's what they're attracted to, that's what they're attracted to. But I'm not going to hate on them because of that. And I resent what you just said. I find what you said extremely offensive. I'm not going to cuss you out, but I find what you said extremely offensive.
With women saying they want this or that he's just shut off and he's not dating anymore because he thinks women's expectations are so high.
Well, because they are. Okay, this photo here. Well, these dudes aren't that ugly. God, if these guys are considered oofy doofy, What's that make me? These dudes aren't that bad. No homo here. They've got some very attractive girlfriends or ladies here.
But this woman is actually trying to talk to him because she's finding him attractive in some way.
Literally asked one of the bartenders, I'm like, are you single? No, he wasn't. I'm a walking L everywhere I go. It's
Yeah, because because the chads that she wants, they're either taken or there's just not many chads out there. I mean, how many guys are super good looking and over 6 foot tall? You're probably talking about the top 5% of the population, and that's what this woman's looking for.
just like a little defeating, I can't lie. Whatever. I mean, I'm not going to let that like bring me down. I'm going to keep doing my thing. Like, I enjoy going to coffee shops and working from home from coffee shops and editing and doing whatever from there. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep going out. I'm going to keep shooting my shot. It's just a little exhausting. That's all I got to say. It's exhausting.
Yet, if you saw that woman in a coffee shop and she was doing her own thing, you wouldn't think that she was secretly lonely, as she said at the start of the video, and she was exhausted and she was desperate to meet a guy. You wouldn't expect that. Most guys would look at her and think, oh, she's probably got 10 guys that she's seeing via dating apps.
Well, she probably is. Women that pretty, they're going to have no problem getting a guy. I mean, this woman here, she's a beautiful woman. She's pretty hot, actually. Completely out of my league. But, yeah, she'd have no trouble finding a dude. The thing is, she's just too picky. She wants some 6'5" giga chad. And there's not many of them out there. I mean, they exist, but they're just not that many out there. Yeah, there'd be tons of guys trying to hit on it, whether they're actually successful or not, well, who knows? But there'd be tons of chads be going for this woman.
And she's probably got 10 guys trying to ask her out in real life. She'll probably be annoyed if I go over and talk to her.
Yeah, she will be. If she hasn't given you any choosing skills and you cold approach her, she will get the shits. Absolutely.
I'll be a nuisance, yet she is desperate to meet someone. Right? So
she's not bloody desperate. She could nail a dude in 5 seconds flat. Oh, goddamn bacon's full of shit. These PUAs, they're clueless on women. They actually are. They think they're experts. They're not. These guys are just their views on women are just so perverted and distorted. One thing that gives me the shits about PUAs, they seem to think that it's us men who are the choosers when it comes to male-female intimate relationships. We're not. Women are the choosers. They play judge, jury, and executioner on your sexual market value. You don't pass that looks test with a woman, game over. Game over. You're done. And women do the choosing, not men.
So let's have a look at the next clip. With this woman here, she made a bit of a funny clip, which some women do on TikTok, where they're saying, why don't men talk to me? And then they actually record themselves showing their everyday body language. And it's a sort of a realization for them that, I seem a bit standoffish. But there are reasons for that, right? So let's start the clip here.
Well, no shit, Sherlock. When you look about as approachable as a 7-meter long great white shark, of course people aren't going to approach you. I mean, would you approach would you go pet up on a dog that's growling at you? No. Would you approach a 7-meter long great white shark? No, obviously not. Okay, but seriously though, the lady on the left-hand side here, she's giving instant F-off signals. Well, of course, guys aren't going to approach her. She's unapproachable. Her body language is very, I wouldn't say hostile, but it's not exactly very friendly either. So, guys, of course, men aren't going to approach her. And this woman, and once again, the only reason this woman's going on social media complaining that men won't approach her is that she's complaining that Chad won't approach her. Anybody else, it's creepy. Well, when you give people body language like that, don't expect men to approach you. Gee, some people are clueless.
So the last one there, she's only messing around, but...
Yeah, she might be messing around, but in real life, women do that. I mean, some of the dirty looks that I've got from women in the past, geez, if dirty looks and death stares could kill, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I'd be 6 foot under pushing up daisies. Oh no, women can give you some really horrible body language, some very dismissive, hostile body language. mean, most of my rejections were body language ones. When you got looks like that, yeah, back turns, and yeah, it's pretty easy to tell what a woman wants you to get lost. And yeah, I can read a woman's body language pretty easily. Most people can, unless you're an autistic PUA. Most people can read. I can read female body language, and it's not hard to read. It really isn't.
Essentially, many women have that "don't talk to me" type of body language, and
yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. They do, and when you observe that, you don't approach them. You use your common sense and social intelligence. If you're getting hostile, combative, dismissive body language from a woman, don't approach her.
there are reasons for it, right? Because they don't want to be approached by guys who are made to feel welcome to talk to her, who she doesn't want to talk to, right?
Yeah, and that's usually an unattractive guy. I mean, if the guy's a Chad, then she won't give off negative, hostile body language. She'll give warm, inviting body language. She'll give that Chad the green light or the choosing signals to approach her. But if he's average or worse, still below average looking, then she'll give hostile, dismissive body language. I think this Dan Bacon guy, and pretty much all these PUAs, they need to talk about body language, studying female body language. You've got to read you've got to read the room. But these stupid PUAs don't talk about that. That's one of my biggest peeves with pickup artists and dating roaches. They don't instruct men to read female body language. You've got to read the body language.
And so guys who are going to be very nervous or creepy or weird.
Nervous. Okay, there's a very valid reason why men get nervous when they approach women, and I speak from personal experience. You make the rather foolish decision to cold approach a woman, and as you're approaching her or you're interacting with her, you can see the hostile, dismissive body language, the usual stuff, back turns, dirty looks, the silent tremor, or they fold their arms, or they turn away and they have this really angry look on their faces. Well, you start to get nervous because you go into fight or flight mode. You're saying, oh, shit, this is going bad. How do I get out of this? Look, I mean, as I've said in previous videos, if you're in that situation, just politely thank the woman for a time and leave, and just get out of there, leave her alone. You're silly if you hang around and escalate the situation. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned a reaction video. So it was made by Alex playing with himself. He was doing a reaction video to a failed pickup. There was a guy, I think it was in Miami, there in Florida, and there was an outdoor nightclub bar, and this man he approached a woman, and this woman was quite drunk. And even before he could introduce himself, the woman said, "I don't want to know your name." Okay, so basically she's rejected him straight away. Now at that point, this wannabe PUA or this failed PUA, he should have said, "Okay, look, sorry to bother you, lady. You have a good night. I'm going." But no, what did the clown do? He probably thought it was one of those, one of those autistic shit tests that the PUAs go on about. No, she just rejected you. But now, what does this clown do? He keeps talking to her. It got to the point where she got quite angry, and then she complained, and then security kicked the guy out. Now, if this clown, this buffoon, wannabe PUA, if he had any social intelligence or just basic common sense, he should have just accepted that initial rejection and left the woman alone. But no, he had to go back and harass this woman. Right? That whole situation could have been avoided if he just accepted her initial rejection. Anyway.
So weirdos on the street. Sometimes there are weirdos walking around the street and so on. So she has to keep her guard up. And
that's fair enough. There are some weirdos out there. Yeah, I can understand that.
Other times it's because she wants to seem cool. Right? She's walking through the world and she wants to seem like a cool girl rather than a girl walking around, looking at people and saying hi, making guys feel like, oh, I can go and talk to that girl, or she seems friendly and open and easy. Right? She wants to seem like a cool girl who's got her life together. And if you think about it, many men do the same thing, where they're walking through a public situation and they, want to look cool and they just, chill and very confident and so on. And they're hoping that women find them attractive, or they're hoping that people see them as cool, that other guys feel intimidated by them and so on, right? So there's a bit of acting going on from both men and women. However, you don't need to be intimidated by this type of body language.
Well, why wouldn't you be? If you, as a man, if you make the rather foolish decision to approach a woman who's giving you hostile, dismissive body language, how do you think that's going to end? It's not going to end well, Dan. She's probably going to, humiliate you, cuss at you, and possibly report you to the police. Yeah, of course you'd be intimidated by that. What? Yeah, any guy with two brain cells to rub together would know that, but not you brain dead pickup artists. No, you guys are just too dumb to see that. And you're advising men to cold approach women. That's not good, Dan. Not good advice.
You've got to understand that no matter how cool or confident or even quote unquote manly a woman behaves, she's never going to be more masculine or manly than you because
Well, obviously she's a woman. As a man, you're meant to be the masculine, and she's meant to be feminine.
you are a man. You have to put yourself in that position. You can't look at women who are behaving in a certain way to scare off weird guys and so on and to seem cool around others.
No, they want to scare off ugly guys. It doesn't necessarily have to be weird. Women give hostile, dismissive body language to men they don't find physically attractive. I mean, the guy could be a perfectly decent guy, but he's not good looking. So that's why women give off that negative, hostile body language. It happened to me when I went to that speed rejection function back in December 2005. Oh, the body language of the women there was just terrible. It was so hostile. Basically, they had this look on their face, don't talk to me, I'll rip your head off. Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a very valid reason why men don't approach women giving off negative body language. Yeah. Once again, you don't approach a dog that's growling at you, and you don't approach a 7-meter long great white shark for obvious reasons.
Girls, which they do as well, they want to seem like a cool girl around other girls. You can't be thrown off by that and feel like she's more manly than you. If you feel like she's more manly than you, then she's not going to feel attracted to you. Right, so you need to be able to look at these sort of women and see that they do have a cute side behind that facade.
Oh, this is ridiculous. If a woman's being bitchy and mean to you, either through her body language or verbally, it means she doesn't like you. It's nothing to do with her being feminine, you being masculine. Oh, these PUAs go on with absolute rubbish, nonsense.
And they really do. When you get them back to your place or you go to their place and you start making out, hanging out, having...
Well, that's if she finds you physically attractive. And if a woman does find you physically attractive and she likes you, she's not going to act all bitchy and mean to you, is she? Dan Bacon's not making any sense here. I think what he's sort of alluding to is that women like to play hard to get. No. Women aren't playing hard to get. As a man, you're hard to want. Many years ago, I was having a debate with this PUA fanboy, and he was going, "Oh no, women like to be chased. They like to play hard to get." And I said, "No, mate, that's bullshit. Women aren't playing hard to get. You're just hard to want." And he got really angry and shitty at me, and insulted me, and said, "Yeah." I said, "Whatever, mate, whatever. Look, dating or hooking up with women should be a seamless, organic process. You shouldn't have to jump through hoops and play stupid mind games with women. If a woman likes you, she likes you. She's not gonna make you jump through hoops."
Sex, their cute, giggly, girly side comes out, and you get to see that. But in public situations or social situations, they'll often have that sort of act on. And in most cases, it's not as quote-unquote aggressive as this woman is displaying here. Sometimes it's just really being neutral, right? Here's another clip. So she seems kind of neutral and bored and not intimidating, but for a lot of guys, they find that intimidating because she...
Well, of course, it's. I'm not saying her body language here is overly aggressive, but it's not overly friendly either. Oh. I think this Dan Bacon guy's on the spectrum. I really think he is. Sorry.
She has her headphones in, and she seems to be fine in her own little world. And she's not looking around smiling at a guy and trying to show him that she wants to be approached. She's just in her own little world, but she wants to be approached. Okay, and here's a clip where women are actually begging to be approached.
This is a public service.
No, they're begging to be approached by Chad. Anybody else, it's creepy or harassment.
Announcement for white men. It is okay to approach a Latina.
And she's saying white men there, but it's important not to take what she is saying literally as instructions and think that, oh, Latina women only want to be approached by white men. All Latina women think in the same way. She's just saying that because she's most likely been at a bar with her girlfriend, saw a white guy that she wanted to be approached by. He didn't approach.
Saw a white guy she wanted to be approached by, yeah. And that white guy, or whatever race he was, but assuming he was white, had to have been a Chad. Had to have been a Chad.
Approach her, and now she wants to just say that on her TikTok. But it doesn't mean a guy from another race can't walk up and talk to her. She's just making that point.
That's fair enough. I mean, look, you get no homo here, good-looking guys in all races. I mean, obviously, I think when they say Chad, they're referring to a white guy. Tyrone is a good-looking black guy. You know, for a Hispanic guy, a good-looking Hispanic guy is like a Juan, a Carlos, or a Javier. What's a good-looking Asian guy? A Chang. And a Middle Eastern guy is a Chadam. Yeah, but regardless of what the race is, as long as he's tall and attractive, women will want those guys to approach him. But not if you're average or below average looking. Definitely not.
So
It is okay to like a Latina. We are equals. We are pretty people.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Latina women. They're quite attractive, actually. I've seen a few Latina ladies tonight. Well, they're pretty, not overly good in bed, but some of those Latina women are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
We are also equal to the blondes at the bar.
Even better.
Even better, man.
So she's thinking that the reason why the white guy didn't approach her is that he doesn't see her as an equal, which
No, that's rubbish. That's nonsensical. Sorry, I don't agree with that. No.
is just crazy, right? A lot of people get really mixed up with racism and think that white people are going to be looking at a Latina and thinking that she's not an equal. She's just the same. And the majority of white guys will find Latina women attractive, but the reason why the guy doesn't approach is that he's too scared to approach or he doesn't know what to say.
What do you mean he's too scared to approach? What if that woman's not giving him any choosing signals? Once again, you don't approach a woman unless she gives you the green light or the choosing signals to do so. You just cold approaching stuff. You're risking two things: a very humiliating rejection and possibly harassment charges filed against you. No thanks. I don't think too many guys want to sign up to that.
So sometimes the guy has confidence, but he doesn't know what to say.
Confidence, once again, you can only be as confident with a woman as she allows you to be. And that's based on the body language you're getting from her. Okay, obviously, if you're getting a good vibe from her, like, she's interested in you, well, you're going to be confident because you may get a good result. You might end up sleeping with that woman. But if you're getting bad body language from that woman, you're not going to have any confidence because you're about to be rejected.
Other times, he's assuming that she wouldn't want to be approached by him because he's a white guy. Other times, he's been watching too many TikTok videos where guys are saying that women only want a guy who's 6'3" and jacked and rich.
That's right, because that's what women want. That's reality.
And he's thinking, well, I'm 5'9", I've got a normal job, and I don't have big muscles, so what's the point? I'll go over there and they'll probably laugh at me and humiliate me in front of.
Yep, you bet. And that's exactly what will happen. There's a good chance of that happening. And that's why guys aren't approaching women anymore. Yeah, and can you blame them? A lot of guys, including myself, we're suffering from rejection fatigue. Now, as to giving up on dating, once again, that's a man's personal decision. But I don't blame a lot of guys for giving up. All that rejection, after a while, it burns you out mentally and does tremendous damage to your mental health. And you've got to have your mental health. Obviously, in addition to your physical health, you've got to have your mental health. And getting rejected by women all the time doesn't do your mental health any favors. It really doesn't.
Of everyone. Whereas women aren't actually thinking like that, right? Some women have been asked in interviews, how tall does a guy need to be with you? And they're not going to say, oh, shorter than me or doesn't matter. They're going to say something that makes them look good in most cases. But you've most likely never come across an interview with a woman where she said that a guy needs to be 6'3" and jacked. Instead, that has come from guys who are insecure, making videos on TikTok and YouTube and exaggerating things, saying that guys need to be 6'3" and jacked and be a Chad, and then they'll get girls. But
no, we're not exaggerating, because that's the observable reality. That's observable reality. We look at the relationship choices that women make. Okay, I'm not saying. Look, we're not saying that. You've got to be 6 foot and a Chad to get women. No, I mean, but tell you what, sure helps. You can't deny the fact that the modern woman is mainly interested in a very small percentage of guys. Now, once again, that does not mean that the remaining guys are going to miss out. No, but an increasing percentage of men, once again, through no fault of their own, are going to miss out. It's cruel. But life's unfair.
women actually haven't said that. What you'll hear them say in response to a question of how tall does a man need to be, they'll then say something that makes them look good. But they're not going around saying, hey, guys need to be 6'3" and they need to be rich in order to talk to me. Instead, when they're asked those sort of questions, how much money does a guy need to be making in order to be with you, they'll say something. And in most cases, they'll say something that makes them look good so they don't look desperate or cheap on social media when the video is posted.
But please, it is okay to approach a Latina at the bar. It is okay.
We will talk to you.
We will talk to you. It is okay. I promise. It is okay. Please approach us.
What she's saying is she wants a Chad to approach, or any other type of good-looking guy. Doesn't have to be a white Chad. It could be any other race, but as long as he's tall and good-looking. Yeah. So when women complain about, once again, if women complain about not being approached, when women beg for men to approach them, they want Chad to approach them, or any other type of good-looking guy. Average guys and average and below average looking guys, they're not referring to those guys, because, as we all know, us average and below average looking guys, we're completely invisible to women. Completely invisible to women. If we made the rather foolish decision to cold approach these women, we'd be called creeps. Yeah. Anyway.
We are all one. We are begging.
We're begging.
We're on our hands and knees. Please approach us.
I'm on my knees.
Like, what the fuck?
So they end up playfully saying that they're begging, but really they are feeling desperate. And
they're not desperate. Those two, they're quite attractive, especially the one on the right with the big boobs. They're attractive ladies. They could find a guy in 5 seconds flat, easy.
that's something that I have noticed, right? I've been helping guys to attract women for more than 20 years now.
Bullshit. What have you been doing? You've been ripping people off for the last 20 years. These PUAs. I don't know what guys fall for this shit. If you've got to go to a dating coach or a PUA to learn how to be, it's a wrap. Does Chad and Tyrone do they have to go to these PUA courses or boot camps or whatever? No, they just put themselves out there. Women give them the choosing signals, and the rest is history. If you've got to go to a PUA or a dating roadshow, it's over.
So I've seen the changes in the dating scene. And back when I was out there attracting and sleeping with women were not desperate.
Okay. All right. Look, in fairness to Dan Bacon, as much as I hate this guy, when he was a younger man, no homo, he was wouldn't call him a Chad, probably a high-tier normie. But look, I'd take a lot of these photos with a grain of salt. It's not hard to pay a woman or a hooker to be in a photo with you. You know what I mean? This is a sneaky thing these pickup artists do. They'll pay women to be in photos with them. So, oh, look, these are my receipts. This is proof that I can attract women. Look, just because you have a picture of a picture taken, have some pictures taken in the company of women doesn't necessarily mean you pick them up. Once again, it's not hard to pay a woman to be in a photo with you. But look, in fairness to him, Dan Bacon, no homo, he was probably a high tier normie. Yeah, and that's the only reason look. Assuming these photos are genuine, these are women he actually did end up sleeping with. Well, he's not ugly, he's not exactly ugly either, is he? But but really, I think you got to take these photos with a pinch of salt. I mean, I suspect that a lot of these women you see were paid to be in those photos.
Was a different dating scene altogether. But these days, because so many guys are virgins now, right, it's taken a huge percentage of guys out of the dating market. And because so many guys have given up based on what they've seen on TikTok and so on, with so many men talking badly about women and saying that
No, sorry, Dan. There's a very valid reason why a lot of guys have given up on dating, right? And also why there's an increasing amount of virgin men out there. You know, as we all know, the modern women's mainly interested in that top 5% of guys. Now, once again, it doesn't mean that the remaining 95% of guys are going to miss out. No, but an increasing percentage of men, through no fault of their own, are going to miss out. And once again, I do not hate women for rejecting me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Perfect not to do that. If they don't find me physically attractive, they don't find me attractive, and then that's entirely their choice. So I resent how Dan Bacon assumes that us BP Inkwell guys are misogynists. We're not. Far from it. Right? I can't do. There's not much I can do when a woman rejects me. Once again, when a woman says no, she means no. There's no grey area or ambiguity in that word. It has a clear and definite meaning. And I don't blame guys for giving up on that. And once again, that's a personal choice. They're suffering from rejection fatigue. They're over it. They've gone on the dating sites or they've gone to meet women in person, and they just constantly get rejected. In the end, they just say, "No, this ain't worth it. I've got to preserve my mental health," and you do, because if you constantly get rejected by women all the time, regardless of how well you're presenting yourself, it's going to do tremendous damage to your mental health, and you don't want to do that. You really don't. But I resent how Dan Bacon just assumes that us dating challenge men are misogynists. We're not.
they just want a 6'3" jack guy who's rich, there's hardly any guys walking up and talking to women. To the point where I've noticed that many young women these days are desperate. Now, of course,
No, young women aren't desperate. And once again, there's a valid reason why men aren't approaching women anymore. The fear of accumulating rejection, fear of a harassment charge being filed against them. Men aren't stupid. They're not stupid. They can see the dating game is completely wrecked, right? And I have to blame women. And once again, I'm not saying that in a misogynistic way, but I'm sorry, women have ruined the dating game. The false allegations, the Me Too bullshit, humiliating men. There's no, or what's that other thing that some women do? They set up cameras in gyms to get men to stare at them, and they humiliate them on social media. And women wonder why men don't want to approach them anymore. Well, what do you think? Yeah, once again, Dan Bacon being the male feminist that he is, it's always the man's fault. Women are perfect. Yeah, perfect little angels that can do no wrong. As a man, you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy. That's what I hate about these PUAs and dating roaches. Yeah, they say they want to help men. No, they don't. They're just after your money. They couldn't care about you.
not all. Right? Some women are absolutely fine. They're getting dates. They're getting a boyfriend. They're fine. But I've noticed when interacting with women these days that they seem so much more desperate. And that's women adapting to the changes that have gone on. But for so many guys out there who are stuck in the negative algorithm on TikTok or YouTube, where when you watch a video from a guy complaining about women and saying it's all too hard and women are bad and they just want a 6'3" Chad.
Okay, men aren't complaining. They're just stating facts, particularly us guys in the BP and Inkwell community. When we express, I don't know if you call it frustration, but when I make these videos, I'm not doing it to hate on women. Absolutely not. And I definitely do not hate on women. Absolutely no. I make these videos just to share my experiences. Sometimes how do I put it? unfortunate experiences with women I've had. But once again, I do not hate on the women who rejected me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're acting on their biology. Unfortunately, I'm one of those men that just so physically unattractive, I'll never have a meaningful relationship with a woman. That's just life. But I definitely don't hate on women because of it. When myself and other BP content creators make videos, we're not doing it to hate on women. We're just trying. We make these videos just to give dating challenge men the comfort and reassurance that their lack of luck with the ladies and life in general is not your fault, and don't beat yourself up over it. But at the same time, too, please do not hate on women because they're only acting on their biology. Well, I don't care what a woman does. If a woman wants to sleep around, if that's what's going to make her happy, more power to her. And once again, there's a valid reason why a lot of guys have given up on dating. They're suffering from rejection fatigue. They've had enough. No, that's not to say that all women are bad. No, there's good, decent women out there. And if you're lucky enough to meet one and spend the rest of your life with her, hey, great. More power to you. Hope it works out for you. But good women are getting harder and harder. They're getting harder to find. They really are.
And, it's all screwed now. TikTok and YouTube will serve you more of those videos because it seems like you're interested in those videos. So
no, well, I can't speak much for TikTok, so I don't go on there much. But as far as YouTube is concerned, well, the reason why those videos are put out because people want, it has to be put out there because it's the truth. I mean, you're not going to find the truth on the mainstream media. Forget about it. I mean, I stopped watching TV 15 years ago, and I stopped reading newspapers close to 10 years ago because all you get from the mainstream media is just a pack of lies. And people have turned to social media platforms like YouTube because they want the truth. Although at the moment there's a lot of censorship, but even withstanding the censorship that goes on YouTube, at least you get more independent journalism, which you don't get from the mainstream media. So, well, there's a reason why men turn to social media to get independent journalism to find out what's really going on in the world. Because you're not going to get it from television. No way.
They want to show you more of those so you keep watching more videos. That's the number one goal for them. And it's not your mental health. It's not like, hang on, we probably shouldn't be showing this guy some negative videos about women here and all these guys.
No, they're not negative videos about women. They're truthful videos. They're truthful videos about women. Okay, and sometimes it's not always pleasant. This is, one good thing about the BP, the dark pill, I know it gets criticised for being negative. It's not negative. It's just realistic. And sometimes the truth's not always a nice thing.
Complaining about women, saying it's all too hard and women are bad. And
well, it is too hard, but women are not bad. Now, see, this is another thing that annoys me about this Dan Bacon guy. He likes to verbal. I'll explain what verbaling is. When you put words into people's mouths they didn't say. Right? Yeah, that's what verbaling is. When you put words into people's mouths that they didn't say. Well, a lot of guys have given up on dating because it is too hard. It's ridiculous. Why play a game that's systematically rigged against you? And what's that old saying? The best winning move is simply not to play. But in saying that, I'm not saying women are bad. No, absolutely not. No. I mean, there are some toxic women out there, but then there's also toxic men as well. Us men aren't perfect either. We're sinners. At the end of the day, we're all sinners, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. No one's perfect. But a lot of men have given up today because it is too hard. It's just the juice just ain't worth the squeeze. But Dan Bacon, being the typical PUA scammer, like all these PUAs are, they're trying to guilt trip you into buying their products. They're useless products.
They all just want the 6'3" Chad and so on. We probably shouldn't do that because that'll affect the mental health of men. Instead, it's just an algorithm feeding what it thinks.
No, Dan, it's called telling the truth. I mean, we all know the famous BP content creators like Face and LMS and Inkwell TV and the Rehab Room. Okay, if you on face value or on on the face of it, these videos appear to be negative. No, they're not negative at all. They're just realistic. I think probably the most toxic thing about the self-help industry, and I'll include pickup artists, dating roaches, and people like Tony Robbins and the people who wrote that book, The Secret. They spew out this pop positivity crap, and that is toxic because what you're doing is you're giving people false hope based on blind optimism. The great thing about the BP, the dark pill, is we just tell it like it is. We don't give people false hope. Yes, it can be negative, but I'd rather be told the truth rather than lies or false hope based on blind optimism. That's toxic. Pop positivity based on blind optimism, that is incredibly toxic. I think it's better people be told the truth. If it's negative, well, then so be it.
You will watch, and as a result, it's one of the reasons why the virginity rate has skyrocketed. And
no, the reason why the virginity for young men has skyrocketed because most modern women are choosing a small select group of men. Okay, that's the reality.
Why so many guys have just opted out of dating and given up because they have been fed information saying that the top 20% of men are sleeping with all the women.
Maybe not all the women, but a large number of them, right? No, the reason why that information be put out there because that's what's going on. I mean, you'll never hear it from the mainstream media, but the mainstream media is full of shit. You'll hear it from more independent platforms like YouTube and Rumble and BitChute, whatever, but more so YouTube. Well, because that's the reality. That's But I think what Dan Bacon is trying to guilt trip. Oh no, don't listen to the BP and the people who tell the truth. Buy my course. Yeah. Well, see, these PUAs get scared when they're scared of the BP because us guys, we're bad for their business model. Because if PUA is actually told the truth, wishful thinking with that, most guys wouldn't buy their course. They say, what's the point? It's all about looks, which it is. Sorry, it is.
And a few months ago, I was coaching a guy who'd been brainwashed by all of that. And he said to me,
no, we're not brainwashed. Sorry, I resent that, Dan. No, us men in the BP, we're not brainwashed. We have common sense. We have critical thinking skills. Okay? You can't talk your way into a woman's pants. PUA is useless. It doesn't work. Women make snap judgments on men within milliseconds of seeing a particular man. Women are attracted to what they see, not what they hear.
That when he looked at a woman on her phone during the day, his automatic assumption is that she is texting one of these chads from dating apps and she's going to go and have sex with him that night. And
well, probably, yeah. Captain Obvious. I mean, what else? I mean, maybe not necessarily, but in most cases that would be the case, yeah.
And all these guys are texting her who are sleeping with her because she's sleeping with all the chads.
That's right. A lot of modern, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of modern women, they have very high body counts, and most of those guys would be chads. Yeah, definitely.
And he didn't realize that the absolute majority of women don't use dating apps, and the majority of users on dating apps are men, and women have never been the majority users. They've never been the equal users, and they will.
That's true. I'll give. Well, once again, Dan Bacon is right there. The dating sites and apps and what have you, they are sausage fest. Yep, he's right there. Can't disagree with him on that.
Never be, because it goes against their instinct of attraction. For example, if a man's in a social environment and he's essentially looking around at women, with that pick me sort of energy, like, look at me, pick me. Women feel turned off by that. They see.
No, men don't do that. Women are turned off by physically ugly men. That's what turns women off. Not what you just mentioned.
Him as insecure, desperate, and confused about how a woman's attraction works.
No, I'm not confused at how attraction works. It works like this. Women look at a man's genetics and whether she wants to replicate with those man's genes. Right, that's how attraction works, Dan. All right, not the PUA bullshit that you guys come out with. All right, I know how female attraction works. Women are attracted to three things: LMS, looks, money, status. Looks for genuine attraction, money and status for you, or for resources. But the most important thing in terms of getting raw, genuine sexual attraction from it is your looks. I'm sorry, it is.
Right, he's hoping to be chosen for how he looks or
Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
how he is dressed and so on, but that's what women do. Right? That's the female role, to stand there looking pretty, and then a masculine man looks at her and he's like, yeah, I like that, walks over, talks to her, and quote unquote, in her words, sweeps her off her feet. And
Yeah, no, Dan, but that's based on how he looks. You PUAs have got this all wrong. PUAs like to tell men that it's women. Sorry, that it's men who are the more visual gender. No, it's not. It's actually women. Women are by far the more visual gender than men, and for good scientific reason. And once again, I'm not hating on women for that. A woman, when she sees a man, she says to herself, if I have offspring with this man, he's going to give me beautiful babies. So when they grow up, they can replicate. That's not going to happen with an ugly dude. Now, that's not to say that ugly men don't pass on their genes. They sometimes do. But more often than not, physically unattractive men, their genes are mercilessly weeded out of the gene pool. Yeah? So no, Dan, you've got that completely wrong. It's women who are the more visual gender, not men.
that means that he talks to her, he flirts with her, he shows interest in her, he makes her feel feminine and beautiful, and she starts to feel aroused, and he gets her number, or he kisses her, or he takes her home that night, or they go on a date, and she's being swept off her feet by this masculine man who wants
No, she's been swept off her feet by a Chad. God, this guy's clueless.
her, who values how she looks and then how she is as a person. And she feels like she's with a masculine man now. But many guys will have that pick me type of energy in social situations where they're standing around hoping that women are going to do that to them. And on a dating app, women get that sense from guys where they're posing in photos where it looks like the guy is essentially saying, pick me, look at me, I'm doing fun things in my life, pick me. And that's one of the psychological reasons why most women do not like and even hate dating apps. It really turns them off. And they would
No, they hate dating apps because there's not enough Chads on there. That's why they hate dating apps.
rather meet a guy in real life, right? So with that client of mine, he ended up saying that he felt disgusted by what women were doing on dating apps. And I said to him that if I had his mindset and I thought what he thought, then I would also feel disgusted, right? That women only want these 6'3" Chads and they don't want any other guys, then
Well, that's right. That's how the modern woman is. Not saying all of them, but a very large percentage of them only want that top 5% of guys. Those Chads. They want the 6 foot Chad. Regardless of whether these women see these men on the dating site or in real life. That's what the modern woman basically, that's what they mostly want.
screw this, like women are so superficial. That's all they care about. I can't offer that to them. So yeah,
Well, once again, look, I'm not hating on women for being, not superficial. Obviously, women want the best genetics to replicate with, and I'm not going to hate on them because of that. They're just acting on their biology.
like why should I even want to be with them? But it's not the case. It's just what has been spread by guys on TikTok and YouTube who have taken those sort of interviews from women out of context, and also the numbers from dating apps where when they said that only the top 20% of men get results on dating apps, they didn't also say that the absolute majority of users are men. So the small percentage of women who are using the dating apps end up becoming picky, which
Yeah, but regardless whether a woman sees you on a dating app or in real life, they're still going to judge. They're still going to judge you on your looks, and they're either going to pre-select you or reject you based on your looks and whether that woman finds you physically attractive. Okay, you are right. Yes, I mean they are dating sites and apps are both sausage fests. No one's disagreeing with that, but it's also in real life as well. I mean, I know of Chads who have harems of women chasing them. I've spoken to other members of the BP and Incore community, and they've either known Chads or been acquainted with Chads who literally have harems of women chasing after them. So I hate to say it, but a very small percentage of men are monopolising the dating market. They are. That's just reality. That's the reality of the situation. And it's not just on dating sites and apps; it's in real life as well.
It's just natural. It's just how things work. If you were able to pick from tens of thousands of women who are lining up to be with you, you could then start to be very picky.
But even if the gender ratios were more in the favour of men, just say it was the reverse, okay? Just say dating sites and apps had more women than men. It still wouldn't make it easier for you as a man to find a woman, because what would happen was, say, okay, just for argument's sake, you've got a dating site and there's 1,000 members. 900 of those members are female, 100 of those members are male. But of those 100 men, if only, I don't know, if only, say, 50 of those men were attractive and the rest of them were ugly or below average, I bet my two balls those 900 women would chase those 50 guys and would ignore the other 50 men. I'd back that any day of the week. Any day of the week. Because that's what happens in real life as well. Sorry, I had to bring this up again, but the cruise. Unlike a normal nightclub or bar where it's sausage, on that cruise, there are actually more women than men. I'm doing a rough head count, women outnumbered men 2 to 1. And initially I thought, oh shit, I might have a chance here, but no. All the women on that cruise, and I'm not exaggerating, guys, may God strike me down if I'm lying, all the women, including the average, below average looking ones, they're all chasing the chads. All chasing the chads. I'm not joking. I was on that cruise for 2 weeks and I was stone cold sober the whole time. And I saw everything that went on. Even the average to below average looking women were going for the top guys. My Chad friend and the other Chads on the cruise, every night of the cruise, they were surrounded by 3 or 4 women. Whereas us ugly guys like me, we were just standing there by ourselves with our drinks and dicks in our hands looking like idiots. So even if like I said before, even if the gender ratios were more in the man's favour, women would still be going for that top percentage of guys. So I wouldn't know. So Dan's got that wrong there. And once again, women are the choosers when it comes to male-female intimate relationships. Women are the choosers, not men.
It's like, well, actually, no, your boobs are a bit too small there. Yeah, your hip to waist ratio needs to be a little bit better there. So let's see. You're a brunette, but I kind of like a light brunette, not a dark brunette. Your nose is a little bit this or that, and you can start to be very picky as well if that was the case. But it doesn't work that way because female.
No, it doesn't. No. Sorry, Dan. Once again, you're wrong. Even if the gender ratios were more in the man's favour, the majority of women would still go for that small subset of men. Sorry, Dan. You've got that completely wrong.
Male attraction doesn't work the way that male attraction works.
No, Dan. No, Dan. You're wrong here. You're wrong here again. Right? I know what he's about to say here. He said that he's going to put out that PUA lie that men are the more visual gender. They're not. It's actually women who are the more visual gender, and for genuine scientific reasons.
Where men mostly initially focus on the physical and they're ready to have sex or a relationship with a woman simply by looking at her. And that's why guys will say relationship material, marriage material, girlfriend material. I'd have sex with her. I'd do her right away. Okay, so here's another clip here.
No. Sorry, that. Yeah, men can be visual. No, I'm not denying that. But women are even more visual for reasons I've already explained.
Yeah, where the girls are saying that the reason they go to a bar is to be approached.
Okay, can we really talk about for 1 minute? Why are men not approaching women in the bars anymore?
Because they don't want to get rejected and humiliated or possibly have harassment charges filed against them. What do you think? Yeah. Here we go. Some more modern women complain that Chad's not approaching them.
Are you guys really that scared? Because we strictly go to the bars because we literally want to be approached.
Yeah, by Chad, not by average and below average looking men.
I'm not there just to hang out with my friends. Yes, I want to see my friends, but I am also there because I want to talk.
And then the video cuts out because this is just a clip of it. They ended up removing it from their TikTok because they were getting a lot of hate. and negative comments, where many guys were calling them desperate, or they were saying that you said that you didn't want to be approached, that's why we didn't do it, or you.
That's right. As I said before, for decades, women have told us men, don't approach us because it's harassment, unless you chat, of course. And we listened. And now women are getting the shits. Yeah.
Said you wanted the Chad or so on, right? They were
That's right. That's what women want. They want Chad. Anybody else, it's creepy or harassment.
getting a lot of hate for it. But this is women literally saying that the reason why they go to a bar is to be approached by guys so they can meet a guy.
No, they want to be approached by Chad. That's the important information they left out.
But when you go to a bar, women will often have body language that suggests they're not interested in being approached because
Exactly, and you observe that and you act accordingly. You don't approach them. If a woman's not giving you any choosing signals the green light to do so, don't approach them.
they don't want to welcome the guys who are drunk to come over and talk to them, or the weird guys and so on. They want to filter that out by having a little bit of closed body language where they just seem like they're enjoying themselves. But really, the reason why they've gone there is to hopefully meet someone, right? She's trying to meet a lover, boyfriend, or husband.
No, she wants to meet Chad.
That's the reality. Okay, so here's a clip now from some younger girls who look about 18 or something, and they're wondering why boys don't come up and talk to them, and they're thinking it's because they're acting girly and they're acting weird and they need to somehow act a different way, and then guys are going to come over and talk to them. So they're just being girls hanging out, and they're thinking that that may turn guys off and make guys think that they're weird. But the reality is that when some guys who are single see girls like that, they'll find them attractive, but then assume they already have boyfriends, or they don't want to be approached because they're hanging out and they're having a private conversation, or they seem fine on their own, or if I walk up and talk to them, they're going to put me on blast on social media. And
yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what's happened. Like I said before, women now they're going in gyms, setting up cameras to trap guys to get them to look at them, and then they humiliate them on social media. So of course guys aren't going to approach women. These PUAs, they really give me the shits. They give the worst dating advice. Like I said before, if you want advice on how not to get laid and how to have harassment charges filed against you, listen to a pickup artist. Yeah, I don't know.
shame me and humiliate me and so on.
You bet, and it's happened, and that's why guys aren't doing it anymore.
But they're hoping that guys will come up and talk to them because they're single and they want to meet a guy. And for some guys, they'll say, well, why don't they just go and walk up and talk to guys at the beach? The problem is that if they do that, many guys will get weirded out by it. They'll think, well, is this a prank or something? Where's the hidden camera? What's going on here? Why are two young, fairly attractive women coming up and talking to me? What's going on here, right? If I do something here, I'm going to be put on social media and made fun of. Or are they trying to get something from me? Are they going to rob me or something? Which some guys have told me over the years, when they've been approached by a woman, they have that fear of is this girl going to try to rob me and maybe drug me and take my kidney or something like that?
Well, that has happened. I don't know about taking kidneys, but I've heard of reports of guys, they get approached by a woman and the guy thinks, oh, this woman likes me. But what the woman does, she'll go back to a hotel room, and then when the guy's not looking, she'll spike the guy's drink and rob him. And that has happened to guys. So yeah, if that happened to a guy, he would be on guard because of things like that, happening. So yeah.
And in other cases, guys won't really know what to do with it, right? So the girls come up and talk to them, and the guy's feeling so nervous and anxious that he doesn't know what to say and ends up screwing up the conversation, and they end up feeling awkward and rejected, like that girl earlier, where the guy may have actually liked her, the guy with the bear's cap, but he didn't know what to say, and she ended up walking away and saying that she was a loser. Right? So these girls can be afraid of walking over, getting rejected in their mind, even if the guy isn't rejecting them and he's just nervous and so on, doesn't know what to say, and then they end up feeling like a loser. And a woman can also worry that it will be a case of her walking over to a guy or some guys, and then the guys are like, yeah, well, if these girls are showing interest and offering, then sure, I'll have sex with them. And they end up having sex with them and they aren't interested in them, and the woman ends up falling for the guy maybe, and he didn't even like her from the start because he didn't like something about her nose or her
Well, that might happen to a Chad, but it's definitely not going to happen to a below average or ugly guy, is it?
weight or the shape of her face or whatever it may be, the size of her boobs. And he's always thinking to himself that he wasn't going to stay with her, but if she's offering, sure, I'll have sex with her. Right? He's thinking that. And she ends up falling for a guy who didn't even like her from the start, and she ends up getting her heart broken, right? So she tries to avoid that as well. So it's a difficult situation for both men and women in the dating scene these days, where most women do not use dating apps and they do not want to use it. They're not going to change their mind. They don't want to do it. And many guys are too afraid to talk to women, or they think that they're going to be interrupting, or they're going to be humiliated in front of everyone if they walk
Well, yeah, they will. And that's why guys don't do it. Or they're just giving up on dating because they're sick of all the rejection. They're suffering from rejection fatigue.
over and talk to her. And there are all these things getting in the way of men and women meeting each other, having sex, and getting into a relationship. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? As you may know, I run a community and I have members from all across the world who are using my attraction techniques, and they're getting laid and getting girlfriends. And there are guys out there all across the world who know how to make women feel attracted, who feel confident enough to walk
You can't make a woman feel attracted to you. She's attracted to you or she isn't.
up and talk to a woman who are getting results. And it's actually easier these days because women are so much more desperate. Not all
No, it's not easier. It's not easier. It's actually anything dating is getting harder and harder and harder because women are mostly into that top 5% of guys.
women, but many women really are more desperate because when you look into the numbers, it makes a lot of sense. Where the amount of men who are virgins is very high, which takes a lot of men out of the dating market. A lot of guys are using dating apps and thinking that pretty much every woman is using dating apps these days. So they are swiping and they're hoping that they're going to get a result, and they're just wasting time on a dating app with a bunch
There's a very valid reason for these statistics because once again, the modern women's mostly interested in that top 5% of guys. So a lot of guys, once again, through no fault, they ain't going to miss out. You know, so there's reasons why these stats are around.
of men and a small percentage of women, and they're being told lies by the media that everyone's using dating apps and so on, and they're wasting their time on that, and they're also having their confidence destroyed, where for example they get better photos or they pay for a premium type of access on the app, and then they don't even get results, and it's like, well, women don't want me, so they then give up. They think, well, women these days just want these tall 6'3" chads, and I don't have a chance anymore.
That's right. Because that's the reality.
So they just play video games and look at porn and focus on other things, and that takes a
Well, that's right. If you do give up on dating, and once again, it's a personal decision, you tend to your copes, like I do. I mean, you tend to your hobbies, and in my case, and if I want to get laid, I just pay a lady the night. Yeah, you know, if you do give up on dating, you turn to your copes. Nothing wrong with that.
lot of men out of the dating market. So it's not a case of 50% of men and 50% of women out there, an even ratio to choose from. Instead, the amount of single women that are available is much higher than the amount of single men who are available and are actually trying to get somewhere. So
No. This is where these PUAs get it all wrong. Once again, it's women who do the choosing, not men. And even if there were more women than men, women are still going to go after that small subset of guys and ignore the rest.
these days, it's so much easier to get results. As I said,
No, it's not easy to get. It's getting harder and harder and harder. Why do you think a lot of men are look maxing these days to improve their chances? So no, Dan, dating is not getting easy. Dating is not easy. It's bloody hard, extremely hard, especially if you're an unattractive guy.
I've been helping men for over 20 years, and I've never seen the dating scene as desperate from the woman's perspective as it
No, it's not. Women aren't desperate. Women can nail a dude anytime in 5 seconds flat.
is these days. And I've seen guys who are total beginners get results so easily. For example, there are members in my community who were virgins, and when they start learning a few attraction techniques, when they have something to do, something to say, when they interact with a woman that's going to spark her attraction, and they give themselves a chance, then they start getting results. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery.
Bullshit. I'd take these testimonials with a grain of salt. PUAs, they like to use this. It's a tactic they use. They put up these fake testimonies. Oh yeah, look, my students are getting all these results. Bullshit.
It's pretty simple, and that is you've got to say or do something that sparks attraction inside of the woman, and then she
No. You can't talk your way into women. You cannot make a woman feel attraction. She has to. She has to. Women go by looks. I'm sorry. You can't make a woman feel attracted. She's either physically attracted to you or she's not. And if she isn't, game over.
starts feeling attracted to you, and then you've got to shoot your shot. You've got to give yourself a chance to move things forward. And if you do that, you get results, because that's what women want. They want to feel attracted to a guy.
No, they want to. They want to feel physically attracted. They want to see that attraction. As with many years ago, I was having a debate with this PUA fanboy, and he this is what he claims. Talk about cope and delusion. He said, "Oh no, women are turned on by what they hear, not by what they see." Rubbish, complete utter rubbish. Women are turned on by what they see, right? More so than us. Once again, it's women who are the more visual gender, not men.
Who then moves things forward. Most women aren't that difficult to get with. There are women.
Bullshit. Rubbish. Especially if she's hot. No. Unless you're a Chad, attracting women is incredibly difficult.
Women out there who are very picky and difficult to get with. That is true.
Yeah, that's a good number of them. I can't give exact statistics, but even average, below average looking women are as picky as shit.
But the absolute majority of women aren't as picky and difficult to get with as they may make them.
Bullshit. Okay, what's with these photos? Oh, they're pretty looks matched. I mean, the guy's batting a bit above his league, but he's not ugly, and we don't know the circumstances behind these relationships. If these guys are considered below average, geez, then I'm the elephant man.
Themselves out to be, or as many guys believe them to be. So this
Well, these dudes are definitely are ugly. I mean, the guy on the left, yeah, he's pretty tall, and the guy on the right's not ugly either. So, Jesus.
video is to help men, but I also hope that indirectly it helps women out there who are looking for love, who are trying to find a boy.
Women looking for Chad. These couples here, yeah, I don't know. None of these guys are really hideous. The guy in the centre photo, he's just overweight. The guy on the right's quite tall. Maybe the Asian guy, he's batting above his league, but he's not hideous either. Anyway.
Boyfriend trying to find a husband, that they may finally get approached by a guy in a real life situation who is able to spark some attraction inside of them and then move things forward. All right, you can do that. Guys across the world who haven't taken themselves.
Okay, on the left, the guy on the right, that's got to be an escort or money. Sorry.
Out of the dating scene and who know how to do it, have been doing.
He's pushing PUA bullshit again. Look, this PUA premise that if you can somehow push the right emotional buttons on a woman, that'll get her to overlook your physical shortcomings and get her to sleep with you. It doesn't work, guys. There's got to be physical attraction. I'm sorry, there is. If that woman doesn't find you physically attractive, game over. With these photos here, the two guys on the right aren't too bad. The guy in the middle, I don't know. Is there money involved? But even in his case, he just needs to lose a bit of weight. Anyway, let's go.
Doing it, and it's never been easier than it is today.
Okay, guys, this concludes my my reaction video. Sorry, just on these final two photos. Well, the guy on the left, he's no homo. He's not here. He's the guy on the right. He's punching above his weight. But once again, if these guys are considered below average, then I'm the elephant man. Look, that concludes my reaction video to Dan Bacon's PUA. Look, the bottom line is this: when modern women complain that men aren't approaching them anymore, what they're really saying is, why isn't Chad approaching us? Anybody else, it's creepy or harassment. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to my video. If you'd like to leave your likes, comments, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. You guys have a great day. Bye for now.